Oh man, there you go. You turn the lights on. Uh-oh. Hey, there we go. Hello. Mmm. Oh man, I need to log in to see this. Hello, Tundra. How are you? Video check, mic check. Hello, hello. We good? Hey, Seagull Lover by the Bay. Hello, hello. How are you? Okay. Video, audio check. Check, check, 1, 2. How we going to do? Another crash? Jesus. How we doing? Natural season. Hello. Hello, everyone. Yes, we are on. Hello. Yes. Video and audio are all good. That means we are back. Yes. My name is Ming Chow, teaching professor at Tufts University, and today, well, I'm sure a lot of you folks stressed with lab. Oh, Lab 9 is easy. Okay, let's say this. Lab 9 is the easiest lab I grade of them all. 10 isn't any bad. 10 isn't bad either. For me, the last two labs of this course are pretty easy to grade. Hello, B.S. Wilson. Hello. Hey, come on. All right. So I check the news all the time. Did anyone see this news? This was back in February, end of February. Disney worker downloaded an AI tool, and it led to a hack that ruined his life. Um, Disney employee downloaded a tool. To make a long story short, what ended up happening was the AI tool was not just an AI tool. It was. Anyone know what a keylogger is? Yeah. The tool ended up being a keylogger, stole all of his credentials, everything that he was typing in on his computer, everything that he was doing on his computer. And that gave the attackers the ability to, use all those credentials to get into a Slack accounts, get all the data in the world. To get all the data in the world about Disney. And all that information was all that dump treasure trove of information about Disney was put up for sale. Do you expect all the vulnerabilities? Only the important ones. I've heard so many news about AI and this that they all blend together. Oh yeah, keylogger is bad. Oh yeah, keyloggers are bad. In fact, you all saw one in the CTF game this semester. But you may be wondering, like, what in the world is this AI tool that this Disney worker downloaded? I actually have the technical details on what happened, and it was this. This is a great report from Sentinel Labs. And what really happened was the Wall Street Journal article doesn't give you into the technical details, and it shouldn't. It shouldn't. Uh, and the software, the malware that was downloaded was an AI tool, uh, and by a criminal group called No Bridge, No Bulge, targets AI and gaming. Yep, here it is. In July 2024, the group released data allegedly stolen from Disney's internal Slack communication. I'm not going to read this entire thing, but what's really cool about this article is, and I totally forgot about it, just happened. Notice the executive summary. It's very, very concise. It's very short and very concise. 5 bullet points. Speaking of executive summaries, did one for a CTF report. Uh, Targets the supply chain by weaponizing code in publicly available repositories on GitHub and Hugging Face. leading victim to import library mod packs used by gaming and modding software. Yeah, this is July 16 of 2024. But what's interesting is, I'll let you read it, how the malware distributed Discord, Reddit, GitHub code distribution. They even have a picture of, just there in plain sight. GitHub repository for the malicious libraries. And what's interesting is, I want you to look very closely. I don't know if anyone can see this. I'm going to open this up in a new tab. Here's some of the malware code. Aren't those the furry hackers? Yeah, I got no comments on that. I got no comments about, yeah. I think we all have. I think we've all downloaded code from GitHub repositories without a lot of verification. I think we all have. Not just you. And you can see like base 64 is commonly used. Okay? Oh, wow. There's just a lot of this stuff out there just in plain sight. Statement. Yeah, malware delivery, yeah. There it is. Hey, even Reddit, base 64 encoded link for malicious, but for malicious, okay, BeamNG mod. I don't know what that is. Encoded links, look at that. I know those. I know some of those links. More, payload, more. Okay. Alright, well, so what am I trying to get at here? Well, I'm trying to get at today. Everything that everyone has learned, everything that you have learned, that we have done in this course this semester, all leads up to one final major topic, and that is, of course, malware. Malware isn't going away anytime soon. They've only evolved. They've only gotten more deadlier. And here we are. The Disney one was a very recent one that made the news. I mean, there's a lot of these, but certainly one of the very more high-profile incidents that have made the news. And I think even now, as what Book of Portals said, this is happening like on a day-to-day basis, even in plain sight. I mean, so much of it is on tools and apps that we use all the time, like Discord and even on GitHub. So today is about malware, and we're gonna do demonstrations of malware today. Oh yeah, we're gonna do demonstration of 3 malware. One of them is kind of a fake, just for proof of concept malware. But then we're going to delve into 2 malware that is very real. Okay, so just some really basic definitions. I show this because, like, if you're gonna, malware is a pretty deep topic. You can have a full course on just malware and malware analysis. This is only we're gonna do like a week or 2, and that's it. Malware is the combination of 2 words: malicious software. The way you think about malware is like organized crime. There are many different families of organized crime. Different families of organized crime do different things. Like they're specialized in 1 or 2 things. There are families of malware including virus, worm, backdoor, Trojan horse, rootkit, and of course ransomware is a big one these days that is affecting a lot of critical infrastructure, hospital, power plant, water treatment plant, and even municipal government systems. Today, I'm definitely going to show a virus, worm, definitely a virus, definitely a backdoor, and definitely a Trojan horse. Okay? Other definition that I'm sure you may have heard of before, you may have heard of these words, but we have never formally discussed them, is A zombie. A zombie is just a computing device or a machine. That also includes phones, by the way, and coffee makers. Is a computational device that's already been infected or compromised with malware. Okay? You may have heard of botnet a few times. A botnet is a network of infected computers. Usually, botnets are very common used in the distributed denial of service attacks. Okay, and for every botnet, there's always going to be a few bot herders or bot masters out there. Usually in some other country, some other country, you can probably figure out who they are, that and where it is geographically that controls the botnet. Okay, CNC, command and control, is infrastructure that controls the malware and the botnet. Now, I just want to give you all a disclaimer here is that I am not an expert in malware. Like, I have gotten delved into a bunch of cases. I've been in a number of cases, but I'm not the expert in malware. There's so many other people that do this stuff for a living. In fact, one of my first security job interviews that of course I failed miserably on was to be a malware analyst for Sophos. That was like 2004. Oh boy, thank God I didn't take that job. Anyway, so the thing that you got to know by the end of today is the different families of malware all have different definitions. What I'm saying is that you don't ever want to use virus and worms interchangeably. They're two different types of malware. Okay. Hey, Luffy. They're two totally different types of malware. They're both malware, but they work completely different. Okay. So the first piece of malware we are going to actually understand is a virus. Now, the idea of a computer virus is a very similar, if not exactly the same, as a biological virus. What is the most famous biological virus out there? There. Virus? Famous biological virus? Someone? It shouldn't take you that long to respond given everything that has happened. There you go. Ooh! Seagull Lover by the Bay actually went okay, yeah, okay. Alright, COVID. It would been. I think I did this for the last few years. Is like wrong answers only. Like give me a wrong answer only. If you say the c word, you lose the game. Common cold, influenza. Okay, so how do you spread the cold? How do you spread the flu? How do you spread the COVID? I'm so sorry to bring back painful memories, folks. In fact, a lot of people who got one of the three or a combination of the three in the last 4 months. Like, how do you spread COVID or the flu or the cold or the Black Death? Contact with others. Cough at someone. Like that. Yeah, exactly. You sneeze on someone. There. That's exactly how a computer virus also works. Exactly the same way. Is there gotta be some contact mechanism. Okay? So the two things about a virus is propagation and piggybacking. Now, a virus is going to be executable, okay? And it has to attach itself to someone else or something else. You know, it can be a virus can be like remember a malicious software. Software does not have to be just an executable. It could be a script, or it could be like fucking Excel macros as well too. All right. What's even more crazier nowadays is that the virus doesn't have to be an exact copy of itself. That's scary shit. Okay. So you can't infect an already infected file. So like say for example, if you already have a cold, or if you currently have the cold, if you currently have COVID, you can't be hit with COVID while you already have it. There's no such thing as a double cold. No. Okay? And if you send it, like, here's the deal: if you send someone a virus, that someone opens it up, it's gonna actually infect not only them, but also spread as well. So, how a virus works is exactly like a biological virus. Some sort of coughing on someone, replicating the file, and then a payload is executed. Okay, so now that brings up to, is there an example of a virus that we can use? And the example, the common cold isn't even one virus, like, right? Yeah. But some coronavirus and other like random, yeah. Or touch something, infect, yeah. You know what? Even Tundra said the magic word. All you need to do is just touch someone. Or touch something infected. Like say well, there's a running joke. It's like before you go to before you go to Vegas, maybe it's actually okay to lick like subway stairwell in New York or something like that. Anyway, just at GitHub.com, 2001. There we go. Here, I have a virus called a foo virus that was written 7 years ago. And this is a virus that I'm going to demonstrate, and it still works, even though it's almost 20 years old. It's even almost 20 years old, this virus, and it's written in a programming language called Perl. How many of you here actually know the Perl programming language? Anyone? And here, we're going to come back to the example. Foo virus. Woo! And so I'm logged in a server right now. I have a virus called the foo virus here. Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah, here's the thing about Perl. The Perl programming language used to be the thing in the 90s and early 2000s. Perl was a programming language, is a programming language that was made for system administrators for tasks and stuff. Now here's the thing about Perl. Perl programming language is like the best programming language that you can use to write spaghetti code and code that you do not understand in within like 48 hours. A lot of people call Perl like the second coming of voodoo. They're not wrong. Okay? Oh, B.S. Wilson said I've known enough Perl to hurt myself. Doesn't everyone? So here is the foo virus, how it works. The foo virus only has 37 lines. Here's all 37 lines. So I think everyone knows what a print statement is. And this is a demonstration of how easy it is to write a self-replicating program. So it says this virus will infect all files with names ending in .foo in the directory in which you can execute an infected file. If you send an infected file to someone else and they execute it, their .foo file will also be damaged too. Also, notice that this is also a safe virus for educational purposes, since it does not carry a harmful payload. All it does is to print this message and comment out all the rest of the code in .foo file. There. That is how the foo virus works. So what I'm going to do now is this. Vim bswilson.foo .0 bswilson.foo Vim Tundra 9898 foo. Vim book of portals. Okay. I like past house. Seagull lover. Why did I say a seagull lover? I am going to sneeze. Who else do I got here? Natural seasons. natural seasons. Is it springtime yet? Who else do we got here? Luffy. Oh, come on, bro. Oh. Shut up. Right. All right. So, I created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 files. Now what I am going to do, I think I'm going to do an ls-l. Now, I want each and every one of you here to take a visual snapshot of this screen. Take a visual snapshot of this screen. Visual snapshot of what you're seeing right now here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 files. 7 files. I have Book of Portals, bswilson.foo, thefoovirus.pl, luffy.foo, naturalseason.bar, seagull over the bay.foo, tundra 9898. So I'm going to do more. Seagull over the bay.foo. I'm going to do a more. Okay, I want you to all take a visual snapshot. Take a look at the permission, take a look at the file size. Yeah, take a look at the timestamp. Take a look at it all. I'm going to show you seagull over the bay.foo, how that looks like. I'm going to sneeze on someone, okay? So I'm going to do more luffy.foo. I'm Dick and Harry. There you go. Okay? So, you with me so far? Everything looks good. Everyone actually take a visual snapshot of this screen. Take a visual snapshot of this screen. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to execute the foo virus. Okay? So I'm going to do curl foovirus.pl and watch what happens. I do have to run perl foovirus.pl and not /foovirus.pl because foovirus.pl is not an executable. Boom. Here you go. This is a demonstration of how easy it is to write everything that I just said earlier. Notice that this is a safe virus, does not care for educational purposes since it does not carry a harmful payload. All it does is to print out this message and comment out the code in .foo files. There. Now, I'm going to clear the screen and get to an ls-l again. See the difference? Now, what do you see? Remember I said earlier, take a visual snapshot of what you're seeing. Now what do you get? Oh, shoot. Shit. Do we have enough people today? Oh, we do. Okay, I can use, okay. Now, you notice that all the .foo files, the permissions are now all permissions. Full read, write, execute, read, write, execute, read, write, execute. The foo bar files now have group and other, yeah, okay. The permissions are different, but notice the file size is also very different too. All the .foo file went up. Oh shit, I can't go back up. But you notice that all of the foo file went way up in size. Okay, the permissions are different. If you want to think cosmetically, you can also see the .foo files also got bolded. But you also notice the 2 files that did not get changed. Book of Portals and Natural Season. Because they're not foo files. Okay? However, all the other .foo files, hold on, take a look at more luffy.foo. Why? That's a great question. Why does that get bolded? The reason is on Kali Linux, the newer versions of Kali Linux, all the executable files get bolded. That's a really good question. They were double digits before. Yeah, they were double digits before. So now if you take a look at Luffy. Is it Luffy.foo? Yeah, more Luffy.foo. Look at this. all of the foo virus code got plopped in. And Tom, Dick, and Harry, everything, the original code gets commented out. So here's how the foo virus works, the code. So here's a for loop. Again, this code looked like shit. So hey, that's Perl. For I equals 0, for the first 37 lines, just read in all the files of the file. Now what it does is for each my file, glob.foo. So what this is going to do is going to pick up get all the .foo files. For each .foo file, open it in, read in all the content, close the .foo file for reading, and then what happens is combine the entire foo virus, like all of the foo virus. Here it is. If join all of it. Foovirus.m. Where's foovirus.m? Why is that here? It's gonna do a find and it's gonna do a find. Oh yes. Make sure that foo virus does not exist already. Change the file permission to 777. Okay, open the file for writing, print out the foo virus, and then append the existing code, but commenting out every single line to it. Print it out to the file, close it out, and there you go. So that's how the foo virus works. Reading all, first of all, taking itself, then reading every .foo file, reading every single foo file, open it up, and just plopping all the foo virus code on top of it and commenting out every single line. Okay, so that's how foo virus works. So if I do more, bswilson.foo, boom. Okay, so BS Wilson also got infected. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do vim Kaban. Okay, and I'm going to give another one. Who else is actually on? Anyone else also on this call? Oh man, we got natural season already. Who else? Oh, Mommy. There you go. Thanks. Who else? I was like looking, who the hell is here? More Mommy. I am headed out. Okay. Clear ls minus l. So now I just created 2 additional .foo files. There's also Code Runner, who I don't think you've used. I have no idea who's on. I actually cannot see, believe it or not, just to let you all know, believe it or not, I can't see who is on. I don't know who is who on Twitch, which is a good and a bad thing. Mostly good, though. Hi. Okay. Hey, Hungry Jack. Hey, Hungry Jack! Good for you, man. Good for you. And all the best for getting the job, too. Let me know how it goes. Hey, Barley Wheat. How are ya? Okay. Alright, so now I have Barley Wheat 211, Book of Portals, Kaban.foo, Umami.foo. So there are 2 .foo files that were created momentarily. But now, because Seagull Lover by the Bay, Seagull Over the Bay, that foo, was infected. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, yeah, actually, yeah, we can get jobs. Is that allowed? You know what? As unfunny as that sound, is funny as well because I totally get it. If you want one of these days, like I can go through some horror stories within the last 3 years. Like I still got post traumatic stress disorder from what happened 2 years ago around this time when people were like, I just was ready to like, I could not keep up with like the demand of former students and friends sending me like resumes because they got laid off. It sucks. Yeah, but Hungry Jack, good luck. Good luck. Yeah. Let us know how it goes. Like, let me know how it goes later on. I'm gonna actually run Seagull Over the Bay foo. Because Seagull Over the Bay foo was infected already, and there you go. Seagull Over the Bay foo. Boom. Now watch what happens now if I do an ls minus l. CodeRunner.foo got infected. Mommy.foo got infected, but nothing happened to barley wheat because it's not a foo file. Okay? But if I actually do a more kaban.foo, you know what? Maybe I should do a day at Twitch on just career advice. I'm thinking about that right now. I think we need that right now. Now that I come to think of it, we can do like a career advice kind of a Twitch stream. Maybe I'll take a few motivation from AOC when she did her Twitch stream on fucking what was the thing that she did on meme stocks? Yeah, she did one on meme stocks. That was pretty good. But wait a minute, I want to take a look at BS Wilson. Now you notice BS Wilson was infected the first time around. BS Wilson was not infected the second time around. So you can't reinfect a file that was already infected. That. Yeah, you got the foo virus. I'm terrible about getting a job. Uh, yeah, I mean, I also got stuff to say about that as well too. As terrified about not getting a job is also another issue. I mean, I got friends that were laid off that were out of work for like 3-4 months, and they got kids in the house and all that. So that's a virus. That's all I got for a virus. So now you know exactly how a virus works. I gotta do something. It's a piggybacking and a propagation. But you notice that for how I did the flu virus, I actually had to open up something or had to execute something. That's what you have to do. Okay? There has to be some trigger action like opening up a file, executing a file in order for a virus to spread. However, that is not the same as a worm. A worm, on the other hand, which I'm sure you've all heard of, does not need to attach itself over to another file. In fact, it spreads on its own. Okay? It spreads on its own. So what the hell? Wait a minute. If there's no need to double click something, how does a worm hop from machine to machine? The answer to that is actually you already know how to do that. Remote command, as RSH, SSH, sockets. Anyone ever heard of something called password cracking? It's all that. How does a worm work? Things that you already know. Scanning, sending small packets out, opening up shell, connecting to vulnerable services, exploiting known vulnerabilities like buffer overflows. Now, I know that we are actually in an age where there's not so many good news and happy endings. Well, I want to talk to you about give you a little fun story about the very first worm in the history, very first computer worm, better known as a Morris worm, named after Professor Robert Morris. Now he's a professor at MIT. When he was a PhD student, he brought down the internet in '88 with 99 lines of code. All it did was to connect itself to another computer to find one of several buffer flow vulnerabilities in the finger deep protocol, copy itself to that second computer. The problem is, and we've all done this before, anyone ever done something called an infinite loop? Well, Robert Morris actually put an infinite loop in the code. It did RSH, which is the insecure version of SSH, password cracking to break into other user account. You know, at that time, it caused over $10 to $100 million worth of damage. Over 5,000 Unix machines were infected. Claim to fame, this was the first conviction under the 1986 Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. Robert Morris was sentenced to 3 years of probation, 400 hours of community service, and but the happy ending is Robert Morris now is a full professor at MIT. He teaches the computer architecture course there. I think he did very well with. He helped us create a company. I believe it was ViaWeb. I think it was ViaWeb, which ultimately became. I think some of you folks may have heard of something called Y Combinator and Hacker News. They all go together. So he did quite well in the end. So yes, for every, even if you go down, if you hit rock bottom, you can always get up. So, but I don't think you want to talk to Rob Morris about this mess. But yeah. Worms are still a thing. It was like the shit when we were in living in 2000s, especially if you were a Microsoft shop. You were hit with this shit all the time. 2001, there was a code red worm, infamous worm that just scanned for every single IP address running Microsoft IIS, which is their web server. And what code red did was just deface website with the statement hacked by the Chinese. And hey, the worm also had a trigger time for denial of service attack 20 days later. There was also a second wave. Slammer worm, yeah, another worm that just scanned that affected most of the internet IPv4 space within a matter of 10 minutes. Buffer overflow bug, hitting machines running Microsoft SQL Server. This was the time in which, like, if you were Microsoft, if you were a Microsoft fanboy, you were just getting hit left and right with security issues. People who are not Microsoft fanboys, they were just just watching with popcorn. But it sucked back then. These were like the Wild Wild West back then because Microsoft didn't give a shit about security until like 2, 3 years later. So while they're one of the best cybersecurity companies in the world right now, how they did not care about security still resonates even up to this day. There are some reputations that it is almost impossible to fix because things like Code Red and Slammer, they're in history now. There's a lot of people who don't forget about this stuff. Okay, so I want to now talk about Trojan horse. Actually, we'll give a demonstration of a Trojan horse later, but I want to actually talk about my favorite. Actually, can I do this here? My favorite malware is a backdoor. I'll get back to Trojan horse. You folks know about the story of the Trojan horse? You try to download something, but what you really downloaded was something else, like the AI. Yeah, this is the the AI tool. The motivation that I gave, that the employee at Disney downloaded. Trojan horse. It's the same as the story, the mythology of the original, the OG, the classic story of the Trojan horse. It was a gift that was not a gift. How many of you folks ever tried to download that illegal copy of, insert your favorite program that you don't want to pay for here, or the game? And what you actually ended up downloading was something far, far worse. That's a Trojan horse, okay? But my favorite piece of malware, my absolute favorite piece of malware is the backdoor. The backdoor is my absolute favorite because it is the end game. Because it doesn't matter what security mechanism that you have, username, password, keys, whatever, it doesn't matter. That's all gonna get bypassed. Okay, you all live in house. Do people live in houses these days that has like a back door? Okay, like there's a front door that you always want to you want to lock, but imagine if your home has a back door that is completely open and anyone can get in. Okay. Oh, so I'm gonna stop this right now, and I want to actually show you my app. Okay, so here's what a back door is. Do I have the video? I think I have the video. Oh, I'm gonna download via. I'm gonna go to VLC. No, thank you. Hold on. Wow, wow. Do I have it? Okay, I'll show that later. Hold on. I'm gonna YouTube. Here's what a backdoor is. Anyone a fan of Simpsons? Let me see. Boom. That's exactly what a backdoor is. Like you can have all the most beautiful like security mechanism put into place, but if you have one backdoor open, game over. That. Okay. So, is there a real backdoor that we can use? Yeah, absolutely. And I want to introduce to you to Teeny. Tini. Teeny is my favorite backdoor of all time. Here it is. I got the link. Hey. Hey. Boom. Teeny. Teeny is awesome. Teeny is small. The actual website now is no longer in existence. But Teeny, I mean, the website is now dead. Right, you can't go to it, but here we go. Here's what Teeny is. It's called Teeny or Tiny for a very good reason. It's tiny. 3 kilobytes. All coded by hand in assembly. Teeny listens at TCP port 7777. And it gives anybody who connects a remote command prompt. For years and years, Teeny was publicly available for download on this website, ntsecurity.nu. All you need to do is download the exe file and it runs. Connect, just double click on it, run it on a Windows computer, and then some remote at the machine, just open up, go to TCP port 7777, hit enter once, and now you see a command prompt. Now I'm going to download. I think you can download Teeny. The Trojan horse seems to be beneficial to introduce malware. Hold on. Oh, sorry, Tundra. Yeah. Does this work? Oh. Wait, hold on. Let me open up another browser. Let me open up this in Brave. Holy shit. You open up in Brave. There it is. Yeah, sorry, Tundra, that sucks. Watch what I'm gonna happen. I'm gonna overwrite it. I'm gonna say replace it, but watch what happens. Teeny.exe, dangerous block. Yes, I don't know if you folks know, but web browsers does actually can detect malware. File's dangerous. Fuck. Can I right click on it? Can I actually download it? I don't think they can. I never use it. I never use Tor. Interesting. I thought I could quarantine this. Oh, it doesn't even let you do it now, Brave? Really? Oh, that sucks. But yet I can do it here in DuckDuckGo, the browser. Yeah? Hey, DuckDuckGo didn't have a problem with it. Alright, here we go. I am gonna leave this thing for a bit. And now I'm gonna go to my desk. I just quit this damn thing. Got my desktop here. They're both the same. I'm gonna remove this one. Same file size. Notice the file size of teeny.exe. 3072. Yeah. DuckDuckGo does not have a problem with it. Okay, folks. Now, can I run the exe file on Mac OS? I could if I use an emulator or Wine, but I don't have that on this Mac. Can I actually do something else? Yeah, what happened if I just run simple strings on teeny.exe? There you go. Alright. Okay, folks. That being said, alright, so here I am. I downloaded teeny.exe from this website. Okay? Now I want to introduce you all to a website or service that you should be using now. Some of you folks may have heard of it. You may have even seen it. Anyone ever heard of something called VirusTotal? Anyone ever use VirusTotal? Okay. Here's what you do. Open up your favorite web browser. Go to virustotal.com. Hit enter. VirusTotal is a free service. It's owned by Google. Probably start around 2012, 2013, 2014. Around that time. Go to virustotal.com. It's been around for years. And it's also a very, very important tool in cybersecurity. What VirusTotal is, it's a site where you can upload anything. I mean, you can upload anything. exe files, Microsoft Word document, PCAP files. Even PCAP files. Pictures, whatever. Upload them to VirusTotal, and it will analyze your upload for malware. Okay? It'll analyze it from malware. You can even upload URLs. You can even upload IP addresses, and it will analyze them for malware. This is all free, with a caveat, like everything else. The caveat is anything that you upload and share can be released publicly for other people to use and analyze to the security community. Therefore, if you're dealing with like confidential documents and confidential stuff, don't upload them to VirusTotal. It's very much like don't ever send sensitive data or any like confidential data to ChatGPT or Claude. Same idea. So here's how VirusTotal how you use it. It's really simple. All you have to do is just drag and drop the file. Boom. There you go. Look at that. If you ever download or actually receive like any sketchy attachments and files, just send them to VirusTotal. What I always do. like confidential information. And so what you get is you get this result, and you will see 65 out of 73 security vendors flagged this file as malicious. And here are the 73. There are here 65 out of 73. The most important thing is the number on the upper left corner. The number on the upper left corner is critical. It's going to show you that tells you if there's malware or not. Any number that is greater than 0, bad news. In this case, 65 out of 73 is a strong majority. Wait a minute, you may be wondering, there are actually security vendors that actually detected that did not detect this as malware. It's like, yeah, I'll get to that in a few. Now here are all the security vendors that actually said this is malware. Some places that you're well aware of. Microsoft called this a backdoor. Some places, some companies call this a Trojan, but you can see backdoor, backdoor, backdoor. Google says detected, Trojan horse, backdoor, 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 Trojan horse. Now, who the hell did not detect that this is malware? These places. Why not? Hey, folks, this is the problem. I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to tell it to you straight right now. Personally, I have not used antivirus, anti-malware, or security software for over 20 years. I repeat, I have not downloaded and used shit like antivirus, anti-malware for 20-something years. And they are some of the worst products in the world. And now we've reached a point where they generally don't work. Antivirus, anti-malware, with the exception of Microsoft, okay, they have a hard time detecting a lot of stuff, especially the modern things. I'll go to another vicious rant after this, but here. Yeah, unfortunately, there are still in the year 2025. There are some vendors that did not even identify this as as malware. But I want to go to details. You can even get what VirusTotal will also provide you with bigger details, like the basic properties of the upload. You can see all the checksums, what kind of file this is a Win32 executable. There it is. You can even see a history of the upload and download here. Creation time. First created in like 2000, year 2000. First seen in the wild, 2009. First submission is 2006. I guess the reason it's first seen in the wild is when, I guess 2009 was when people started using Teeny very heavily. Okay. First submission was in 2006. Last submission today. Last analysis back in March of 2025. People have submitted the same exact file as different names, such as systemupdate.exe, 329.exe, okay, whole bunch of different names. Holy shit. Imports, kernel32.dll, winsock32.dll, these are the Windows library it uses. Relationships. Fuck IP addresses. You can even see like a relationship the file have with other domains, other addresses, name and here and there. Behavior. What everyone else in the community has said about this file. Yep. Malware. So you may be wondering, how does it work? Can we see how this works? Yeah, sure. I got a video of that. Here, I'll show you. Hold on. Hey! Here's how it works. I don't have a Windows machine anymore in my home lab. So I created this video a few years ago. So I'm on my Mac right now. I fired up my terminal. Okay, so now I'm gonna go to my home lab back then, and I'm gonna fire up everyone's favorite operating system, Windows 7. So I'm gonna open up Windows 7 on on the home server. Now remember, my main machine is a Mac. On the right, the terminal's open. Ah, good memory, other memories. Windows 7 was the stuff. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Internet Explorer and I'm going to go download some software. But this software I'm going to download is really teeny.exe. I'm going to download 34.74.110.173 and I'm going to download this thing called Fortnite.zip. Here it is. I'm going to save Fortnite.zip onto the desktop. And here we go. And I'm going to go get the hell out of here. I'm going to close out Internet Explorer. Am I? Yep. Windows 7 is still this shit. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, everyone did. Windows 7 was shit. Now I'm going to do an extract all. Okay, I'm going to play Fortnite, but here, you notice this is 3 kilobytes. Fortnite.exe is 3 kilobytes. I heard Fortnite is really the thing now that every kid in the world plays. Now, wait a minute. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an IP configuration on, I'm going to run IP config on what this IP address is. Now, keep in mind, the Windows 7 machine is at 192.168.1.205. 192.168.1.205 is the IP address of this Windows machine. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click and run Fortnite.exe, which is really teeny.exe. And nothing else, you'll notice nothing is going to happen. However, what really happens is it opens up port 7777 at the IP address 192.168.1.205. All I need to do is on the Mac end just run a netcat list. Just run netcat 192.168.1.205 port 7777. Ooh, I hit the enter key 2 times and that was it. That's all I had to do. Got into the machine. No need to enter in username.pxt. Of course, I just run calc.exe. There you go. That's why backdoors are so bad. Now I'm actually going to leave a text file on the desktop on the Windows 7 machine from my Mac running netcat. Boom. And that, my friends, is not only a demonstration of Teeny, but also more importantly, illustrate how deadly backdoors can be. Does anyone remember the FBI said, or law enforcement and government, how they say they want a backdoor on every single computational device? It's the same idea. This is what happens when you try to build a backdoor into anything, any computational device and system. Remember, doesn't mean only the quote-unquote good guys have access to it. Everyone else does, including your enemies. Okay? So now, if anyone ever asks you to build a backdoor into anything, well, you can always refer to this demonstration. That's why backdoors are so deadly. Remember, all I need to do is run netcat. I didn't even need to enter in the username and password to go into the Windows onto the Windows machine. Yeah. So now you saw backdoors, and we saw virus total. Wait a minute. Did you say earlier that did I say earlier that virus total you can analyze anything? Well, yeah. Remember this file? Oops. Go to www.cs.tufts.edu/comp/116/evidence.pcap. Here is a pcap containing malware. Evidence.pcap. I can go back to virus total. I can go to choose file. I can upload evidence.pcap. Boom. Look at this. 7 out of 61 security vendors detected this file as malicious. Mm-hmm. 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 657 kilobytes. Go to more details. The basic properties, the file size, the first submission, the last submission, the file that, the file, different file name that people upload this thing as. Even give you details about the PCAP. 738 packets. The DNS request, all the domain name, josephioseph.com. Remember that, my application download.download. All the interesting HTTP requests, drones.exe, HTA drones.hta, drones.exe, fre.php from my application download.download. Oh, I just realized sensitive. Sensitive is spelled wrong. Oh, I'll tell them about that after this is over. You can also go to relationships. Look at that. All the different URLs involved in this file. All the IP addresses. Yeah. Community. Yeah, it's malware. Yeah, that's malware. The virus total is your friend. I want to show you another thing here. Notice all the anti-malware, anti-virus security engines that actually did not detect this evidence that PCAP is malware. Some very well-known software like CrowdStrike, Fortinet, Malwarebytes. Even Microsoft did not even detect this as malware, really? No, antivirus is bullshit. Anyone here? Here's what antivirus does a really good job with. Antivirus does a really good job with detecting malware that was written in like 2002, 2005, 2008, earlier stuff. If you had to build an antivirus engine, what could you do? Anyone know? What could you do? The most simplest way to build an antivirus engine. Anyone want to take a wild guess? I'll give you a hint. Anyone? How do you build an antivirus engine? Anyone want to take a wild guess? Take a look at the basic. Yeah, it's not only to detect known file names, that's lesser important. But yeah, it's all you need to do is just signature detection, like check the checksums. Okay, plug it into static. Yeah, it's like exactly file patterns. File patterns. You can do file patterns. You can do an MD. You can check for MD5 or the SHA-1. That's what you have to do. And interestingly enough, what I just said is a good segue into next week when we talk about forensics. Next week is going to be fun. So, yeah, detecting file names and stuff. What's even more sadder now, anyone use Norton? Anyone use Norton antivirus? Norton antivirus now mines cryptocurrency. I kid you not. Yep. Norton antivirus built-in crypto miner is, yeah, they have a cryptocurrency mining. Bundle a crypto miner, which is this antivirus service. This was in 2022, so it wasn't that long ago. Okay. Oh no. There you go. Norton Crypto. Crypto miner to Norton 360. So it's not only that there's so much security software that are so insecure, but also very wrong as well. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it doesn't make a difference. Like, there's a whole group of people, and I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that think crypto is a scam, and I don't blame you, but it's like, really? That's not okay. Yeah, this is not okay. Okay? Unbelievable. So, more the reason not to use antivirus, anti-malware software. It's all bullshit. Haven't used it for over 20 years. And you'll see later on and I'll talk about next week, that you can't even use the idea of antivirus or anti-malware on mobile devices, which actually leads to another sample I want to give you. I'm going to go back into my Kali box. And I have a sample here. Okay. Sample.apk. Now, I just want to make sure I get it down, go to my desktop. Oh, there we go. Sample.apk. I'm going to need this open. So here on my desktop now, I have sample.apk. What is that? Well, what is that? Got a virus total, choose a file, submit. Holy shit. Facebook APK? Really? So what this is, looks like this is a Trojan horse. 35 out of 67 vendors identified this as malware. But as you can see from some of the clues at the very top, this looks like it's an Android. This is for Android, exactly. What the sample.apk file is an Android app. As you can see, it's an Android APK. An APK, okay, what does APK stand for? Android APK, the Android package, okay? The file format used by the Android operating system. Okay, it's like .exe is for Windows. You can see that virus total has clearly said that this is malware. Most vendors have said, a lot of vendors have called this a Trojan. Okay, so this is a Trojan horse. Let's get more details. Okay, this is an Android executable. Yes, this is an Android app. Okay, an Android app. It's very small, like 370 kilobytes. Goes by a whole bunch of different names. Facebook.apk, FacebookOTP.apk, Facebook.apk, yada, yada, yada. Summary. Okay, look at the file permissions. Okay, look at the file permissions on this app. Quite a bit of permissions. Why the hell does a contact need to send SMS, write contacts, receive SMS? Internet, okay, I can understand that. Write to external storage, read SMS. Why does an app need to read SMS? This is weird shit. You can see all the activities, all the services, all the receivers, and of course, all the interesting URLs. So, here we are. We have this Android app here. Can we actually dig deeper? Oh, yes, we can. What about if you reverse engineer? Now, the nice thing, the way that you can understand how malware works is what you want to call reverse engineering. And the final lab of this course is to reverse engineer and analyze an Android app. You're going to be analyzing a different app for this course. Okay? So how you do that? And I want to introduce you to a tool called APK Tool. APK Tool is free and open source. It's also APK Tool is Java based. is a tool for reverse engineering Android APK tools. On Mac OS, what you can do, I'll open up a Mac terminal. If you have Homebrew, so you do brew install OpenJDK to install Java first. You got to do that. I already have that. But then you do brew. You can do brew info APK tool. And here it is. APK tool is used to reverse engineer closed binary Android apps. So you do brew install APK tool. Okay. I'm going to go to my desktop now. Actually, I don't need this anymore. Fuck this. I'm going to go to my desktop. I don't need these two. I'm going to get that out of here. So now I got sample.apk. How do you reverse engineer an APK tool? One way you can do it, and don't do this, is you can like try to unzip the file, but you won't get back all the content that you really need. Man, APK tool. Can I do it, man? Oh. I thought we were on APK tool. Here we go. APK tool. Tool for reverse engineering Android APK files. Usage. APK tool, D, followed by the name of the APK file. Okay? Here. APK tool, space D, space sample.apk. Now, we can go into do an ls, cd sample. And now, you have a whole bunch of folders and files. But the most important file that you're going to analyze first is Android manifest.xml. This is the bill of materials, the starting point for any Android app. Doesn't matter if it's Instagram, doesn't matter if it's WhatsApp, doesn't matter if it's WeChat, doesn't matter. Everything always starts with an Android manifest.xml. And you notice immediately the first thing that you see is all the file permissions. You see these lists of file permissions? When you anyone ever download Google stuff on Google Play, the first thing is, does anyone ever look at the file permissions of the file? Seriously, who looks at the file permissions when you download something from Google Play Store? You should. But that list is based off of what you provide in the Android manifest file. File permission, the permissions of the app, is one of the first things that you got to look at. Because if something looks wrong, probably is. You can see all the base classes, auxiliary classes. Oh dear, Tundra. Oh boy. Alright. So now, where's apktool.yml? Okay, this is, okay. But where's all the source code? All the source code, well, is in very assembly-ish language called Smiley. What is Smiley? Smiley code, think of it as almost like assembly. Okay? So now there's a whole bunch of code things out of Smiley here. If I do y.smiley, here it is. It's not Java code. It's not like high-level Java that some folks know of. But it has a look and feel of assembly, but in Java assembly. Yeah. Okay. So, wait, I want to go back to Smiley. And this should be a whole bunch of files and also folders as well, too. cdcom, cdsoft 386. 360. I should get more shit. Yeah, there's probably like a whole bunch of shit after this. Yeah. So you know what you do with all these smiley files? Do you actually want to look at all of these by hand? No. grep is your friend. But the most important thing is the one that gives you smoking guns. Go to res. What the res folder is for any Android app, this is all your resources. Strings, layout, valued, and pictures. Pictures. So you go to CD values. You got more strings.xml. Fuck. App name is Facebook OTP, one-time password. Template 3 underscore, what the fuck? Really? And this is why, okay. Hold on, in the interest of time, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna go to the res folder. You also see icons and drawables here. Go to res, go to drawable. Or you go to one of these drawable folders. Hey. Hmm. Drawable contains all the pictures of an app. Now, I don't know about you, but I think this app is pretty sketchy. Yeah, I think this app is pretty sketchy, folks. So, that's what you do. Yeah, I think this is a sketch-ass app. We'll leave it at that. Not good. I do want to leave one thing. Now, again, I said earlier I'm not the expert on malware. But I would recommend each and every one of you to go and visit my friend Malware Unicorn, Amanda Russo. Malware Unicorn gives a lot of free online workshops on reverse engineering. Go to Reverse Engineering 101 if you want to learn more about reverse engineering Windows malware, like what we did today. This workshop is on fundamentals of reverse engineering WE malware. She also provides the virtual machines, working environments. Okay, what is reverse engineering? Taking things apart, love problem solving. What you do in malware analysis? Baseline analysis, environment, triage, starting point, static analysis, get a sense of where everything is before debugging, dynamic analysis, determine behaviors that can't be understood. Hey, you learned that in this course. Manual debugging, environment setup. She gives a training of what a Windows portable executable format is. She even gives a training on what assembly language like. Aha! Typical attack flow. Look at this, malware classes. Virus and worm. See the difference? Code that propagates, replicates across system with user intervention. Worm is without requiring user intervention. Trojan is malware that is disguised as legitimate software. Backdoor enables a remote attacker to have access to or send command to a compromised computer. Remote access Trojan is similar to a backdoor. So this is one of a few really good trainings out there. And of course, there's also, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the opportunities that you have at the end of this class. Where do you go from here? But today, we are done. That is malware, my friends. Happy hacking. Yes, see you next week when we talk about forensics. Thanks, everyone. Holy shit, we have 5 minutes over. Oh well. Alright, thanks all. Woo! Thank you. Thanks, folks. Yeah. Have a good night. Yeah. Ah, we got flamingos here. Stop streaming. Take care, folks. Hey, berries.